A young mother vanishes from her own home, leaving her two crying babies alone. But when police question her husband, her father, a retired fugitive tracker, steps in and says, "You're looking at the wrong man. The real clue is in the neighbor's camera." The afternoon of January 17th, 2008 started like any other for Denise Lee. She was a young mother living quietly in Charlotte County, Florida, with her husband Nathan and their two boys. But by 3:30 p.m., something had gone terribly wrong. Nathan walked through his front door and immediately felt the heat. The air was thick and uncomfortable. Both children were crying. Noah was 2 years old. Adam was only 6 months. Denise was nowhere to be found. Her belongings remained inside. Her phone sat untouched. Nathan stood in the doorway trying to understand what had happened. His wife would never leave their sons alone. Something had taken her from this house. Nathan dialed his father-in-law without hesitation. Rick Goff had spent decades in law enforcement, working undercover and tracking fugitives across Florida. He knew how to find people who did not want to be found, but this was different. This was his daughter. Rick arrived at the house to find police already questioning Nathan like a suspect. The officers had seen too many cases where the husband was responsible. Then they saw Rick. They knew his reputation. They stepped back immediately. Rick told them to focus on the neighbor. If anyone had seen something unusual that afternoon, it would be her. The neighbor remembered a green Camaro pulling into Denise's driveway around 2 p.m. She described the driver as a white male she had never seen before in this quiet residential area. He did not get out of the car right away. Instead, he sat there staring directly at her house. The neighbor grew frightened and ran inside, closing the door behind her. She did not see Denise approach the vehicle. She did not witness a struggle, but she knew the car did not belong here. Rick thanked her and walked away with a single mission: find that green Camaro before it disappeared completely. Rick activated every resource available to him. Helicopters lifted off. Tracking dogs were deployed. Patrol cars fanned out across Charlotte County. But Denise was no longer in the county. At 6:13 p.m., a 911 operator in Sarasota answered a call that would crackle with fear. A woman was whispering. She was crying. But she was not speaking directly to the dispatcher. She was pretending to have a conversation with someone else in the car. The operator listened carefully and realized the truth. This woman had been kidnapped. She had stolen her abductor's phone, and she was feeding clues in real time. The kidnapped woman mentioned a gas station with a blue sign. She asked if she would be let out of the car. A man's voice answered, "No." The operator heard genuine terror in the exchange, but also something else: control. The caller was choosing her words carefully. Then the man noticed his phone was missing. The line went dead. Investigators tracked the call back to Charlotte County and reached Rick Goff. When they played the recording, Rick closed his eyes. That was Denise, his daughter, his training. She had done exactly what he had taught her years ago. Stay calm. Leave clues. Do not let him know. At 6:22 p.m., a second caller provided a name: Michael King. He drove a green Camaro. He lived on Sardinia Avenue in Northport, just minutes from Denise's home. A raid team rushed to the address. No one answered the door. The Camaro was gone. Inside, the television blared at full volume. Trash covered the floor. Furniture was missing. Then they found the bedroom, a mattress on the floor, a hair elastic tangled in the blankets, duct tape with long light brown hairs still attached. Denise had been here, perhaps minutes ago, but she was already gone and the search had to start over. 8 minutes later, a woman driving on a Sarasota highway saw the green Camaro. She heard banging from the back seat. A hand slammed against the window, hard and desperate. The woman called 911 and asked if she should follow the car. Before the dispatcher could give clear instructions, the Camaro ran a red light and disappeared into traffic. That call was logged. But the information never reached Rick Goff. The report was misfiled. No officers were dispatched. Patrol cars sat waiting only a few miles away. They never moved. Denise was out there, trapped in that back seat. while the system meant to save her failed to deliver a single message. At 9:15 p.m., police finally spotted the green Camaro. A pursuit began. Michael King was arrested. He was alone. The back seat contained a heart-shaped ring. Nathan identified it immediately as Denise's. King sat in an interrogation room and told investigators he was the real victim. He claimed he had been kidnapped, too. Then he asked for an attorney. The interrogation stopped. 2 days passed. On January 19th, search dogs led authorities to a patch of disturbed ground. Sand had been moved recently. Blood traces were found. When the excavation team finished digging, they uncovered a body. Positive identification was made. Denise Lee was gone. Michael King stood trial on August 24, 2009. He pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder, kidnapping, and sexual battery. The defense attacked the witness who saw the hand in the window. They pointed out the missing murder weapon. But the prosecution played Denise's 911 call. The jury heard her voice. They heard King's voice in the background. Then came the physical evidence. The ring. The hair roots Denise had pulled from her own scalp and hidden under the back seat. She knew roots carried DNA. She thought like a cop because her father trained her. The jury deliberated for 2 hours. Guilty on all counts, King received a death sentence. Denise's family refused to let her death be meaningless. They pushed for the Denise Amber Lee Act, which now requires over 200 hours of training for 911 dispatchers nationwide. Nathan founded a nonprofit and travels constantly, teaching emergency operators how to handle crisis calls. Denise's sister Amanda became a dispatcher herself. Her sons Noah and Adam grew into young men who write their mother's name in the dirt before every baseball game. Rick Goff says Denise won. She took a killer off the street. She left evidence from the back seat of his car, and she made sure no one would forget.